Beyonce is being accused again of doing black magic. Now here's what I'm gonna say. Everybody ain't lying. I spent probably a week doing research on all the people that they were connected with, and all of them are connected to some sort of black magic, some sort of witchery.
Beyonce couldn't get pregnant, not naturally. What I do know is this. Beyonce got on that stage with that fake baby bump. It was lined up with the same timing of where Kathy White would have been in her second trimester. The timeline of when she delivered Blue Ivy lines up almost perfect with the timeline of when Kathy White would have delivered. We all know that Blue Ivy came from a surrogate. They shut that hospital down like a president had just been. And parents who had just had children themselves weren't even allowed to see their own kids for 24 hours because of the security that was locking that whole thing down.
$1.3 million is alleged that Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right.
Not Beyonce going back to that demonic voodoo crap just so she can assist herself and Jay-Z get out of all the horrible things they reportedly done with Diddy. Beyonce was previously exposed for conducting witchcraft on persons and apparently even storing dead corpses in her residence for her rituals. But baby, the receipts of those charges are now becoming uncovered by her nanny, and it's much worse than we feared. Not only that, but word on the street says Jay-Z is going extremely broke, and B is the one saving him from losing his billionaire status. No wonder he has her out here touring back to back with a damaged knee and popping out multiple enterprises at the speed of light.
He put in a lawsuit, Jay-Z, that he was facing financial hardship, saying that he was not able to get business loans that he needed for his business and personal life because of these lawsuits. They've caused reputational harm, and banks denied him, even though he couldn't get loans before to save Roc Nation. And so he had to resort to a PPP loan to save Roc Nation. And how is it that a billionaire can't go into his own stash and allow his business to borrow money from him to save his business? Why does he have to run to the government to save him?
The accusations regarding Bey's purported witchcraft have been around since she began in the business. But it got widespread notice when her ex-drummer, Kimberly Thompson, who had been on multiple tours with her for years, abruptly resigned her job in the midst of the On the Run 2 tour and accused Beyonce of practicing severe witchcraft behind the scenes. She added that when she ultimately fled the tour, Beyonce reportedly put someone after her to make sure she didn't flee to the internet. Things grew so terrible that she requested a restraining order against Beyonce because she was terrified for her life.
Guys, I cannot make this stuff up. Beyonce's ex-drummer of 7 years, she is seeking a restraining order against Beyonce. She's accusing her of dark magic, witchcraft, tapping into her phone bill, and basically controlling her finances, her. She's saying the Beyonce camp is put up a huge harassment campaign against her, and it's overall witchcraft. She sought a restraining order in the past. It got denied, and she has another one scheduled for October 11th, but the internet is just like, what? Excuse me? And, you know, I was just at the Beyonce concert last week in Houston. It was definitely a religious experience.
What the girl cats? A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her while she was asleep, snacking on his killing people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too, which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician. She was trained at the esteemed Berkeley College of Music, handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington. Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band.
This absolutely. Kimberly stayed silent for years after this because people were calling her insane and even showed up at her house to drop hate mail. However, only a few months ago, she finally chose to speak about the subject again. And baby, she had a whole lot to say. She stated she regrets ever working with Beyonce because ever since she disclosed everything, she hasn't been able to find employment in the business. She also accused Beyonce's sister, Solange, of also being in on the demonic things.
I definitely did that to definitely be so clear to cut the cord that I don't want to have anything to do with this person at all. I don't want to work with them. I'm even embarrassed that I have worked with them because it's literally shattered everything that I've tried to build after doing that work in my life. So if I have always said when I was a kid, I never would want to regret anything, but this I regret. I regret that we ever worked together because it's turned my life completely upside down. She's not been able to let me go. She's not been able to let me progress into a mature woman and work with other people, build other great entities and statues and trophies that develop in the arts world and music. She's just been a savage, stealing my intellectual property, stealing my ideas, just basically doing anything and everything to damage any type of happiness that I could have had up to current. That be in my own independent career, establishing my own company, my own music, relationships, whether it be business partnerships, personal relationships. So I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of practice of self-love. I know that, I was that kid that grew up and always did the right things and always studied really hard and always did a lot for whoever I was working for and the company. And, that time has come and passed over and over again. And it's just been a nightmare to try to move on and do other things with other people without it getting totally destroyed. The other people I've worked with that have been on a plateau have been paid to fire me. I found this out, and then it just kept happening. So it was a pattern. You get really excited about something, you build it up.
Everyone was ready to believe Kimberly, particularly once she brought up Solange, because not so long ago, when Nicki Minaj was online behaving up and shaming Jay and Beyonce, Solange came into the discussion to reportedly perform some witchcraft on Nicki. At least, that's what people were saying. So essentially, as Nicki was in the thick of her rage, Solange hopped on Instagram and shared photographs of the demons or gods she was worshipping. Because of the date of her tweet, some accused her of posting it to indicate to Nicki that if she didn't stop commenting about her family, she was going to summon her idols and cast some irreparable curses on her.
Since she made $2 billion on the tour and is still counting, she outdid the white girl. And they came after her saying that she owed $3 million over.
Who has y'all under a spell? She had me under her spell too. I could admit it. I know Beyonce had me under her spell. And when I went to her concert, in I think it was 2015. She had a concert on my birthday. I'm a twin. Me and my twin sister went to go see her, and I seen her in person. I seen the witchcraft in person. I seen how everybody stood up off their feet.
Bewitching Beyonce. Did Queen Bee practice witchcraft on one of her musicians? In this Daily Mail TV exclusive, the drummer who claimed she was put under Beyonce's spell is now speaking out.
The fact that people keep saying I'm crazy, hell, the situations I had to deal with and survive are crazy.
Killing people, cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too, which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician. She was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music, handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington. Doctor, I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim Paul?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane.
And Nicki certainly got the message, because shortly after that post, she stopped communicating. These suspicions were fanned by the prominent tea blogger Storm Monroe, who accused Beyonce of becoming a Hollywood high priestess. He stated Beyonce has significant links to a demonic god named Ocean, and supposedly this deity is one of the most powerful ones there is. He stated Madonna used to be the highest-ranking witch in Hollywood and still retains a high position there. But Beyonce is today the top standing queen, and that's why the business offers her so much grace. But some assume that all those honors she earns come at the expense of her children, notably Rumi and Sir. Yep, Storm essentially said that the reason Rumi and Sir aren't as smart as Blue is because Beyonce supposedly used them as a sacrifice.
As know, Beyonce is a witch. She's a very powerful witch. She's heavy into African spirituality. She is a daughter of, I believe, either a daughter of Oshun or Yemaya. I go back and forth. I feel like it's Oshun though, but if I got it wrong, I got it wrong. But nonetheless, she's a high-ranking witch. Okay, how many people have come out and said, "Hey, shit, my cat started dying. Beyonce did this to me. I saw Beyonce do that." Like this is nothing new. Okay, but you got to understand when it comes to Illuminati, to this industry, one person replaces the other. Madonna's old. Madonna is almost done, and Madonna is a very high-ranking witch. She is a high priestess. That's just pretty much what it is. Of course, the main thing Madonna practices is Kabbalah, but then there's different versions of Kabbalah, just like there's different versions of African spirituality. But then I also believe that in addition to African spirituality, I do believe that Beyonce is into dark magic and black magic as well, her and Jay-Z. And we're just gonna leave it at that.
Obviously, it's subjective because, it's music and it's opinion based, but, some things.
Uneducated gangster rapper, that's all she could.
Once Storm put this out there, people understandably began doing their own investigation to see if there was any history of B doing stuff like this. And there was. In reality, B herself was the one who allegedly initiated these allegations when she launched her notorious Sasha Fierce alter persona. She said that every time she employed the alter identity, she felt possessed. Beyonce stated she only relies on that alter ego to take over whenever she has to perform, since she's normally a timid person and can't act without Sasha Fierce taking complete control of her body.
Things that I've read, the comments that I've read is more so something along the line that there's some things the twins might have some kind of issue, but the fans just want Beyonce to come out and tell the truth about what's going on with her children and be an advocate for whatever said issues might be, whatever it is. They just want her to come out and be a voice for it versus trying to hide them, lock them in a room, act like they don't exist.
She remarked, "Right before I performed for the BET Awards, I raised my hands up, and it was the first time I felt something else come into me. I knew it was going to be my coming out night at the award show." And just lately, when we thought things couldn't get much worse, one of Beyonce's former dancers, Kadar Shari, came forward to accuse Beyonce of reportedly hiring individuals to abduct her child and attack her. Apparently, this was Kadar's punishment for refusing to remain with Beyonce after learning out about the suspected witchcraft. She asked, "Are you serious? You call for my kid to be snatched. You nasty witch. At essence, check on my youngster. I'm going to blast this through the ceiling. Beyonce, you went too far. You've got to be kidding me. I'm the youngster you promised to be a celebrity. You forgot you were simply meant to be a star on the tree, providing orders of takeouts. Never wit with your stardom. When it was occurring to me, I kept my lips quiet for my career. Not with my goddaughter. I'll blow your universe apart. Hashtag Destiny's Child. Hashtag really jiggerin'. Oh, but it doesn't end there. Last year, when Jaguar Wright had her angry interview with Piers Morgan that had Beyonce and Jay-Z sending out legal threats, she also reportedly accused Beyonce of conducting witchcraft in her home. Something terrible is stirring beneath the sparkle and splendor of Hollywood's royal pair. Rumors are growing that Beyonce and Jay-Z could be engaged in something much deeper than fame. From witchcraft to secret rituals, and even a former nanny divulging jaw-dropping facts. Could the Carters truly be concealing a world of darkness behind the spotlight? Stay attentive to the conclusion, because what you're about to hear could well transform how you perceive Queen Bee forever. So, is Beyonce plunging back into that voodoo mess again, only to assist her and Jay-Z get out of all the dark stuff they supposedly got tangled up in with Diddy? This is becoming frightening. Every time people believe the drama surrounding them can't get any darker, another tale drops. And this one is crazy.
So let me just give you some context. She asked for a restraining order against Beyonce because she claims, Kimberly Thomas reportedly claims that she suffered from Beyonce's magic spells of sexual molestation.
As bizarre as this, what were Thompson's other claims here?
There's a lot of them. First, that Beyonce stole money from her. She had her stalked, she had her bullied. Thompson said she had to move several different times to different cities because she was casting spells on her work and her relationship.
Like when you're getting ready to go on stage and perform, does Sasha Fierce, when does she show up?
Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when like the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over for you. Then Sasha Fierce appears in my posture. And
like Beyonce, I mean, she has like Sasha Fierce as her alter ego. And Bo Jackson, a famous American football player, he would channel Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. When he said when I'm on that line, I become Jason. Like
apparently, Beyonce's former nanny has begun leaking serious tea, and it's not looking good. She's supposedly revealing the dark side of Queen Bee, from hidden rituals to what some are calling witchcraft in broad sight. People have been murmuring about this for years, but now it appears like the rumors are finally coming up to her. And the way everything's coming out now makes it feel like something larger could be going on behind the scenes.
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
This isn't just about witchcraft anymore. Word on the street is that Jay-Z's money position isn't as stable as many assume. The billionaire image could simply be smoke and mirrors. Sources believe Beyonce is the one holding everything together and keeping his enterprise afloat. No surprise she's out there performing non-stop with a damaged knee, juggling globe tours, and launching new enterprises every other week. She's practically running an empire while patching up someone else's.
With their eyes just like really focused on her, not even looking around, unconsciously just standing up. I had to look around and see what was going on. Not only that, it was this one dance that she did, y'all. I forgot what album this was and everything because it's just like it left my mind because I turned it crazy. But she did this dance on stage and it was raining in Philly this day. And she was like, I love rain, I love water, because she has a marine spirit in her ocean. Then I told my sister, I turned to her, I said, she's about to do this rain dance and the rain's gonna stop once she's done the ritual. Y'all, she started doing this dance, and mind you, I used to watch all her stuff. The girl can move.
According to rumors, Jay-Z even stated in a lawsuit that he's been having serious financial issues. He said that all the litigation and legal turmoil ruined his image so adversely that banks refused to grant him loans, both for company and personal usage. Get this, he apparently had to resort to taking out a government PPP loan simply to keep Roc Nation alive. Like, what? The internet went wild over that one. And people were like, hold up, how does a billionaire run to the government for help instead of digging into his own millions?
Jay-Z new video with Nas and DJ Khaled is a scene with checkerboards. These are all occult Satanists.
The math wasn't mathing, and supporters were side-eyeing him hard. But the witchcraft allegations didn't start there. They've been present since Beyonce's early days. However, they erupted when her former drummer, Kimberly Thompson, came forth. Kimberly had worked with Beyonce for years, performing at large international tours, until one day, during the On the Run 2 tour, she abruptly resigned out of nowhere. Then she dropped the bomb, accused Beyonce of employing severe witchcraft behind the scenes.
Other situations where changing into animals and jumping into other bodies and all kinds of really crazy stuff.
In bizarre court papers, Thompson claims Beyonce, who she refers to as this person, has started a campaign of harassment against her that includes extreme witchcraft, dark magic, and magic spells of sexual molestation. She also claims Beyonce murdered her kitten after the singer put a spell on it.
They were like, the cat has a spell on it. The cat was taken back to her people,
Kimberly stated that when she departed, Beyonce's team dispatched personnel to harass and intimidate her, telling her not to speak. Things grew so terrible that she obtained a restraining order, stating she legitimately feared for her life. Imagine it, Beyoncé's own drummer of 7 years going to court, accusing her of tapping her phone, manipulating her finances, and using black magic to screw with her life. It seemed ridiculous, yet she stood by every word. The judge didn't approve the restraining order, but Kimberly wasn't backing down. She stated, Beyoncé's team even initiated a smear campaign against her to damage her reputation in the business. And honestly, it sort of worked. Even though Kimberly was an extraordinarily accomplished musician, schooled at Berklee College of Music, and selected by Grammy-winning artist Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington to join Beyoncé's all-female band, she's scarcely been able to find employment since coming out.
It's unclear why Thompson is speaking out now, even though she says Beyonce has been at it since 2006.
She's not been able to let me go. She's not been able to let me progress. She's just been a savage.
For years, Kimberly stayed silent because others labeled her insane and even came up at her house to torment her. But a few months ago, she broke her quiet again, and this time, she came with fire. She stated she greatly regrets ever working with Beyoncé because revealing the truth damaged her career. She even went as far as to accuse Solange, Beyoncé's sister, of being part of the same dark spiritual circle. At first, everyone believed these statements sounded like pure conspiracy talk, but the more people looked into it, the harder it got to shake off. Every time the tale mellows out, another insider walks forward, another footage resurfaces, another piece of evidence drops. Whether you believe it or not, one thing's apparent. This Beyoncé and Jay-Z witchcraft rumor isn't going away anytime soon. And the more people dig, the creepier it becomes.
IRS, I don't know how Beyonce got them to admit. I guess maybe after they saw that they were about to get since she made $2 billion on the tour and is still counting, she outdid the white girl. And they came after her saying that she owed $3 million over the course of 2018, 2019, 2020 for failure to report taxes. She decided to pull a fast one on them and say, hey, if you want these taxes here and you don't want me to take forever to pay them because I know you need that, I'm going to need you to get on out here and make a statement. And they said the IRS admits black taxpayers are 5 times more likely to be audited than any other race. I can't believe Beyonce done pulled the race card and it worked.
If it's what you truly want, I can wear her skin over mine, her hair over mine, her hands as gloves, her teeth as confetti, her scalp a cap, her sternum my bedazzled cane. We can pose for a photograph, all 3 of us, immortalized. You and your perfect girl.
This entire narrative is one of those that makes you pause and wonder, wait, what if some of this is actually true? Because every time it seems like these rumors are finally beginning to quiet down, another insider suddenly arrives with even more jaw-dropping accusations. It's like every time the smoke clears, someone comes back to put gasoline on it again. In one tearful interview, Kimberly said that she fully broke connections with Beyoncé and her staff. She wants nothing to do with that circle ever again. She stated, working with Beyoncé was one of the worst regrets of her life, saying it wrecked her tranquility, her career, and her sense of self. According to her, Beyoncé never completely let her move on, supposedly harming her career and hindering her from prospering in the business. Kimberly even accused Beyoncé of stealing her creative ideas and doing all she could to hinder her from maturing both as an artist and as a person.
Senior correspondent Tara Burney joins us now. And Tara, these claims are bizarre.
Really strange.
Has Beyonce responded at all to these?
Jesse, Beyonce's a little busy. She's on tour with Jay-Z. They're finishing up in LA, so they have not responded. And as far as Thompson, her request for a temporary restraining order was denied by a judge, most likely because of the nonsensical rantings about witchcraft. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
How often judges have to rule on something like this, as bizarre as this.
So I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of practice of self-love. I know that, I was that kid that grew up and always did the right things and always studied really hard and always did a lot for whoever I was working for and the company. And, that time has come and passed over and over again. And it's just been a nightmare to try to move on and do other things with other people without it getting...
He spoke up about how she had to rebuild herself from the ground up, depending on self-love and healing, simply to survive all the craziness. She spoke about being the hard-working student who always obeyed the rules, always studied hard, and always gave her best, only to wind up feeling like everything she created was being pulled away. She stated every time she discovered a fresh chance, it inexplicably fell apart, like someone was tugging the strings behind the scenes. And here's where it got even creepier. Kimberly alleged that some of the individuals she worked with were physically paid to terminate her. Like, what? That's the type of comment that makes you question whether there's a broader power play occurring behind the curtain.
There's a lot of them. First, that Beyonce stole money from her. She had her stalked, she had her bullied. Thompson said she had to move several different times to different cities because she was casting spells on her work and her relationships, and she couldn't hold down a job, and she couldn't find a boyfriend.
Okay, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say there will be no legal repercussion for Beyonce.
What's up, what's up? This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Aaliyah. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
After then, people began connecting the dots. They observed a trend. Kimberly would get enthused about a new project, start gathering momentum, and then abruptly, everything would crash again. And just when everyone thought she'd spoken enough, she dropped another bomb by bringing up Solange. That's when people's eyes truly opened, since Solange had already been tied to some bizarre tales previously. Remember that crazy moment when Nicki Minaj went on a rage online, calling out Jay-Z and Beyonce? Well, right in the thick of all that craziness, Solange unexpectedly shared photographs on Instagram of what people believed looked like idols or demonic symbols. The timing was much too strange. People soon began assuming that she was issuing a warning, like a quiet message for Nicki to back off before anything awful occurred. And get this, not long after that post, Nicki abruptly stopped talking about them. Coincidence? Maybe. But the internet didn't think so. Then, just when it appeared like the situation couldn't get much worse, T-blogger Storm Monroe joined the discussion, and he didn't hold back. He stated Beyonce wasn't only a music superstar, he branded her a Hollywood high priestess. According to him, Beyonce purportedly has significant spiritual links to an African god called Ocean, who's thought to be one of the most powerful spirits in African mythology. Storm even added that Madonna used to be the top-ranking witch in Hollywood, but that Beyonce has now taken over that crown, which is why he thinks the industry treats her like royalty.
And it was still, the rain literally stopped. My twin just looked at me, was like, I said, what'd I tell you? I just know what I know about this woman. And this is why a lot of times, y'all, I don't care that y'all make threats, if y'all send anything my way, because God's protecting me. He's gonna always cover me. And whatever people do to me, they're digging a hole for themselves, a grave for themselves. Like literally. So I don't be caring about their fans and what they say and all that other stuff. It just don't faze me, because I know who I am and I stand on what I stand on. I said what I said, and I'm going to continue to say what I say.
But Storm didn't stop there. He made things even more alarming when he claimed that Beyonce's success apparently comes at a price, and that the sacrifices may affect her own family. He stated that her younger children, Rumi and Sir, were purportedly part of a ceremonial sacrifice that gave Beyonce her power. And that's why, according to him, Blue Ivy seems smarter than her siblings. That sentence alone drove the internet into turmoil. Some individuals were astonished, some rolled their eyes, but everyone was talking. Because whether it's true or not, one thing's for sure, This tea is scorching hot, and it's not cooling down anytime soon. Storm Monroe wasn't holding back. He doubled down on everything, suggesting Beyonce is profoundly engaged in witchcraft and evil magic. According to him, she's not simply dabbling. She's a high-ranking witch in Hollywood, extensively immersed in African spiritual rituals that give her power and influence. Storm stated that several individuals have come forward over the years with bizarre experiences. Pets going died unexpectedly, streaks of terrible luck, or feeling like they were cursed, and they all felt Beyonce had something to do with it. He further stated that both Beyonce and Jay-Z were closely related to the occult side of the entertainment business, where celebrity purportedly comes at a spiritual cost. And in his own words, he continued, "Madonna might be old, but Beyonce runs the throne now." Basically, he was declaring her the new queen of Hollywood witchcraft. After Storm's accusations went viral, the internet went into full investigative mode. Fans began looking through past interviews and recordings, and what they discovered made the allegations seem even creepier. It seems out Beyonce herself once stated something that others felt sounded weird years ago. She debuted her renowned alter persona, Sasha Fierce, explaining that every time she performed as Sasha, it seemed like she was being possessed by another force. She added that she was normally timid, but when Sasha Fierce took over, she became an entirely different person, confident, wild, unstoppable.
So, like when you're getting ready to go on stage and perform, does Sasha Fierce, when does she show up?
Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when like the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over for you. Then Sasha Fierce appears, and my posture and the way I speak and everything is different.
Oh, Sasha's coming out.
No, she's not. She doesn't do interviews. She only performs.
Oh, she doesn't do interviews?
No.
No, you leave her home for that.
Yes.
But no, is it like a process that happens too? Like you were talking about the high heels, like once the lashes go on and the makeup and all that stuff.
It's kind of like when I do a movie, becoming the character. Once you put on the wig and once you put on the clothes, you walk different.
Yeah.
It's kind of this character that I've created over the years.
And how is Sasha Fierce different than I am?
Well, I know, definitely wearing that bodysuit, I could never walk out here and do that.
I am Sasha Fierce. Tell me more.
You have to say Sasha Fierce with more attitude.
Yes.
There you go. I decided to split the album into two because I realized it sounded like two different bodies of work, and I wanted them both to be, cohesive. And I like to listen to an album and not have to skip through tracks. So I split them into two. Even the artwork, one is really natural.
In one interview, she even explained how, before her major Beat Awards performance, she lifted her hands and felt something pour inside her. She claimed it was the first time she felt Sasha take over totally, and that she knew it was going to be her big breakthrough night. Fans who watched the interview years ago assumed it was simply artsy rhetoric. But now, following Storm's words, others have begun questioning whether it was something deeper.
Like Beyonce, I mean, she has like Sasha Fierce as her alter ego. And Bo Jackson, a famous American football player, he would channel Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. When he said when I'm on that line, I become Jason. Like, I am unstoppable and I'm going to get you.
And then, just when folks thought things couldn't get worse, another former dancer called Kata Cherie came up with horrible charges. She accused Beyonce of reportedly bribing individuals to abduct her child and assault them as punishment for stepping away after uncovering what she felt were witchcraft activities. Kata was enraged and distraught, thinking Beyonce had finally gone too far. She revealed that she had been silent in the past to safeguard her job, but this time she couldn't keep quiet. Not when her goddaughter's safety was at jeopardy.
Jay-Z and Beyonce are responding legally to the recent interview that Jaguar Wright did on Piers Morgan. So much so, Piers had to issue an apology. One of the resounding claims that Jaguar Wright must be telling the truth is the fact that no celebrity has ever sued her. But some experts will say that, well, technically they don't want discovery if they were to sue her or to give her attention by suing her. But Piers Morgan has a huge platform and has the money to be sued and has a lot to lose.
As I said in the moment,
they were not present to respond or defend themselves. But now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. And we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. We apologise.
As if that wasn't enough, the scene escalated again when Jaguar Wright got in following a heated conversation with Piers Morgan. Jaguar didn't simply repeat what others had claimed. She went far further, alleging both Beyonce and Jay-Z of practicing witchcraft and saying they stored the remains of victims they'd harmed inside their house for ritual usage. She traced everything back to the darker side of the music business, stating the whole #MeToo movement was a plot apparently financed by Jay-Z himself to discredit R. Kelly and cover up his own links to Aaliyah.